Hey mathematicians, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to enter the data that is represented in this dot plot. So remember, each dot represents a data point. So I started off by typing all of these points into the graphing calculator. If you don't remember how to do that, stop this video now, please, and check out the calculator video that I have posted on Google Classroom or ask me for help. Now, if you know how to calculate using the calculator, pause this video, try to get yourself the answers to the mean, the median, and the standard deviation, because those are the three measurements that the calculator gives you outright. Then restart the video to check the rest of your work. So this is the output that I got from my graphing calculator. And remember that this symbol with the X with the line over it is your mean. So that's going to be 1.4. And I'm going to skip down because in the same part of the window here is your standard deviation. And I'm just going to round my standard deviation to, excuse me, to the first two decimal places. So I'm going to say the standard deviation is 0. Oops, I didn't give myself enough room here today. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the standard deviation, I'm just going to round to 0.18. Then remember, if you use the down arrow on the graphing calculator, here's the median, which is 1.4. And the calculator doesn't automatically give you the IQR or the range. However, it gives you enough information to figure it out yourself. So remember that the IQR is your Q3 minus your Q1. So in this case, our Q3 is 1.5. We're going to subtract our Q1, which is 1.3, which means that my IQR is 0.2. Finally, remember that the range is your maximum minus your minimum. So here, my maximum is 1.8, and I am going to subtract 1, which is my minimum. So my range is 0.8. So if we look at our dot plot, we see that the data set is what we call, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, symmetrical. What symmetrical means is it is the big kid word for when the data looks the same on either side. Like it's very evenly spaced out and it looks the same on either side of the middle. So when your data set is symmetrical, as you can see here, the mean and the median are going to be pretty close to each other, if not the same. So that means that both the mean and the median would both provide a good measure of center. And whenever your data are symmetrical, to measure your variability, you want to use the standard deviation that we just learned about that measures spread in the previous learning activity. Okay, now I've used my graphing calculator to do all the same measurements for the second dot plot as I did for the first, and I got a mean of 1.27. I got a median of 1.4. And I got a standard deviation of 0.3. 0.33. And then to calculate the IQR, I did my Q3 minus my Q1, which would have given was 1.5 minus 1.2. So that's going to be 0.3. And then finally the range, our maximum minus our minimum, is 1.6 minus 0.3, which means that our range is 1.3. So you're going to notice that compared to the previous dot plot, where the mean and the median were the same, in this dot plot, the mean is smaller. And the reason that the mean is smaller is because in this dot plot, it's not completely symmetrical like our other dot plot was. We have these two little guys out here to the side, which are called outliers. And these outliers do something to the data set. That means that the outliers do what we call skewing the data. It means that most of your data is here, but those outliers kind of skew, and so it's going to make your mean less than it would be if it were more symmetrical. So when the data is skewed by an outlier, the mean is not going to be the best center of tendency anymore. You just want to use the median, because the median still stays the same even though there are those outliers there, because the middle is still the middle. The median does not change. And because the data is skewed also, instead of using the range, instead we want to just use the measurement that kind of shows the middle of the data set. And so instead of using standard deviation, now we're going to use interquartile range.